Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Wedding Wednesday again, and I figured I would post a video about the 5 things that you should do once you get engaged. My last video was the proposal video, so if you haven't seen that, I'll link that below. But really, it's things that everyone talks about, but I feel like it doesn't really become important until it's too late to do it. So hopefully this can help somebody out, because I definitely made these mistakes. And if you're interested in the top 5 things that you should do right when you get engaged, keep on while you're at it. Go ahead, like and subscribe. If you're already subscribed, click on the little bell to get notifications when I post a new video. If you're new, hi, welcome, nice to meet you. And if you're already part of the Salisbury Ever After family, hi. So yeah, the top 5 things. First thing is budget. Everyone always talks about budget, but then when you're in the moment to actually set a budget, you don't know what to do, because obviously I've never been married before, and I had no idea how much everything was. I didn't realize how expensive everything was. I always hear about it, but it's kind of ridiculous that just because something has the word wedding in front of it, it all of a sudden becomes way more expensive. Like $1,200 for a cake, that's insane. Chris and I really didn't think about a hard number for a budget. We kind of just budgeted each vendor and each thing as we went along. So like, for example, I had a budget for my dress. I had a budget for how much we didn't want to go over for a cake. We had a budget for like how much we didn't want to spend on invitations and DJ and the videographer, photographer. Even as far as like the photo booths, we knew we wanted all these things, but we didn't want to spend an arm and a leg for it, because that's kind of dumb to start your marriage off in debt because of your wedding. Like, that's ridiculous. But we really did want to have a great wedding for us, because we are really fun people and we just thought about the things that were important to us. So when it comes to budgeting, here are some things you should really think of. So when it comes to your budget, you should really prioritize what's important to the both of you, because it is your day. And for us, for example, we really like music and we like to dance. So having a longer reception was important. So we put money towards that. We added an extra hour for our reception. Also, having a good time comes with an open bar. So we really wanted an open bar, and that was priority to us. As long as people were drinking and dancing, that's really all that mattered after the actual, ceremony, of course. And then we really didn't care about invitations. We really didn't care about all that fancy stuff. So we really picked something very simple, because the only thing that matters about the invitation is where is it, what time is it, and when is it. And then people throw it away. So it really didn't matter for us to have really expensive, fancy, extravagant invitations, because we didn't care about that. We did care about food. We really didn't care about bouquet toss and stuff like that. Even like my dress really isn't that expensive, but it's beautiful and it's simple, and that's what I wanted. Of course, I found out the last second, once I already made my decision, that my parents were going to pay for my dress. Originally, I thought I was paying for my dress. But even then, I still opted for the more simple dress, because why would I spend so much money on a dress that I'm only wearing for the ceremony, and then I'm getting another dress for my reception? So yeah, budget. Either come up with an overall budget or do what we did and budget your vendors. Either way, you should know how much you have, and don't go over that, because why go broke? So next is your guest count. I really didn't know this, but everything revolves around your guest count. Your invitations, guest count. Your venue, guest count. Your cake size, guest count. Your linens, guest count. Chairs, guest count. Every single thing for your wedding will revolve around your guest count. So figure how much people you want there and stick to it. Because let me tell you, prices do change drastically when you add more people along the way. I've done that. I went from 273 just on my side and cut that down to 56 just on my side. And in total, we had 100 exactly. Now we're up to 105. And it seems to be climbing. So I'm going to take my own advice and stop inviting people. And I'll make another video on how to say no when people come up to you and they say, hey, am I invited to your wedding? So yeah, try to compromise. For Chris and I, my family's huge and his family, isn't as big. And so I was able to have more people on the list than him. But at the same time, he was able to invite pretty much everyone that he wanted and still had space. So that's why we ended up with 105. And we know that, only 80% of the people you invite are actually going to go to your wedding. So, and I have a lot of people come from another country, so they might not even show up. Which is why save the dates are super important, and so are RSVPs, just for us, because, again, save the dates might not be important to you, but for us they were, because 1, our wedding's on a Sunday, and 2, people are coming from all over the world. So, and I really mean that, all over the world, and they need to know ahead of time to buy tickets. So yeah, do what's right for you. So the next point is the date. You should really think about when you want to have your wedding, what season, because that really determines a lot too. If you're getting flowers, you need to know what flowers are going to be in that season. So if you really want daisies, you might not want to get married in December, just saying. Also, if you're wearing a strapless dress, you might not want to get married in December. But if you have dreams of having a muff and a fur coat, you might not want to get married in July. So talk about the season that you guys want to get married in. See if it fits. See if there's any holidays, because that affects people's travel. All that stuff, because that all affects the day of your wedding. If you want to have a wedding outside, you might not want to have it during raining season. So take that into consideration. The date also affects the venue, because if you pick a place, and the venue is another point that I have, but if you pick a place, you want to know ahead of time what date you want, because if you show up at that place and fall in love with it, and then they ask you what date, and you don't know the answer to that, you're not going to be able to book it. Also, you need to know your date in advance, because some places book out a year in advance. So if you go to the place and you fall in love with it, and you know your date in advance, you can tell them well in advance so that they can see if they have it available. And if they don't, then you might have to reconsider the place or change your date. Which is my another point about the date. Have a backup date. Because we had to change our date twice. Or the original date that we wanted wasn't available. And then the date that we wanted was available, but for reasons that we did not expect, we ended up having to change our date to April, when originally we were supposed to get married in November. And we had to be flexible with that, because it just wasn't going to work. So don't be afraid to pick multiple dates, and don't be so upset if you have to change the date, because that does happen. But at least talk about it so you guys know what the feel is, because again, the date determines the flowers, the date determines the theme. If you really love a deep burgundy color, maybe getting married in the summer isn't a great idea. And if you really like bright colors, it's going to look kind of funky inside the snow. So think about it. So another point is the size of your bridal party. You should really think about that early on, because it really does affect a lot. I always thought that I would have 3 bridesmaids, because I always wanted my sister, my best friend, and my cousin, who I'm really close with. And then I get engaged, and I get engaged to someone who has 2 sisters who are super important to him. So obviously they need to be bridesmaids. So that made it 5. And then I thought about it, and I was like, well, if I have 5, then I kind of want an even number, because I want to be in the middle. So my cousin, who has a sister, who is also very important to me, was added. I didn't add her before, because I don't know why I never realized that she was going to grow up. She was always younger than us. But she's an adult now, so she could definitely be a bridesmaid. But moving on, I then started thinking about it, and my aunt, who is very important to me, was really involved in the wedding. She is hosting my bridal shower. She was there to help me pick both of my dresses, because That's another video at another time, but I ended up having to return my dress and get another one. But she was there for both of that. She was there for my cake tasting. She was there for my tasting of my food. And I was like, her being a guest just isn't enough. So I made her my matron of honor. And that made it 7. And her husband is a groomsman. So her husband's a groomsman. She's a bridesmaid. Her son is my usher. And her daughter was just going to sit in the crowd by herself. So I figured my veil is super, super, super long. And I'm going to need help. So she's my junior bridesmaid. So now my bridal party is 17 deep. When I originally thought it was going to be 6. So definitely think about your bridal party ahead of time, because not only does that affect, how big it is, but if you're going to get transportation, limos only take like 15 people. And pictures. Your pictures are going to be taken from really far if you have a huge bridal party like I do. Didn't think about that. Also, gifts. Gifts cost money. The more people you have at your bridal party, the more money you're going to spend on gifts, because you can't give something to one and not the other. And you kind of have to give them some type of thank you because they are doing you a favor. The last point on my bridal party, getting ready is going to be chaotic as hell, because I have 9 bridesmaids, junior bridesmaids, that have to get their hair and makeup done. I have 3 moms, my mom and my 2 mothers-in-laws, that are going to get their hair and makeup done. I also have aunts that are going to get their hair and makeup done as well. That's going to be crazy. So I spent a little bit more money, but I'm going to have a hotel room the night before so I can kind of woosah a little bit, because my anxiety is no joke. And that's the part that I'm not looking forward to, is everybody running around in one suite trying to get ready for this amazing day that I'm going to. And the last point, to end all points, I've said points like 100 times in this video, but the venue. You should really think about where you want this whole thing to happen, because that's where most of your money is going to go. And we opted for a place that pretty much gave us everything. We're getting married in one place. Right down the hall is the cocktail room. Right down the hall from that is the reception area, and the pictures are going to be taken on the grounds. We chose to get married at a country club. So that saves us money, because we're not paying one person for ceremony and then another person for reception, because fees. Also, it's easier for our guests because they don't have to get in their cars and drive. They're going from ceremony, cocktail hour, reception. Also, for our DJ, we obviously need music for a ceremony, and it would be, I feel, more expensive and just more complicated to have him set up at the church and then come set up for the reception. He'll already be there, so he literally just has to move his laptop and speaker from one place to another, and then obviously he has the full setup for the reception. But for the ceremony, we really just need something simple. And our pictures are going to be there, so we don't even have to pay for transportation, because we're literally going from one spot to another. So my suggestion, find a place that has everything. They have the caterer. They also come with a wedding planner. She's pretty much helped me along the entire way, and she's not costing me an arm and a leg, because she comes with the venue. She also knows the location. So any questions that the vendors have about the location, I just send them her way, and she answers them because she knows that place in and out. And lastly, this isn't really, one of the top 5 points, but enjoy it. Have fun. Don't stress over every little thing. And these timelines they give you are crap. I started doing this as soon as I got engaged, because I was told that you should start 12 months in advance, because it takes 8 to 9 months to get your dress. I got my dress in 2 weeks. They ordered it and it came in 2 weeks. And my dress has been sitting there for months now, just waiting to be worn. I haven't even gotten it tailored yet because I'm still losing weight. Don't rush. Have fun. Because you only get to do this once, hopefully, and you should enjoy it. It shouldn't be a stressful time. I'm trying my hardest not to be a stressed out bride, to not be a bridezilla, which I have a video coming up about not being a bridezilla, because it's really hard. But have a really good squad. That's what your bridesmaids are for, to vent to. Delegate, let your groom help. Don't just do everything by yourself, because it does get really stressful when you feel like you have all these expectations and you can't meet them because you're running around in a circle doing nothing except for freaking out. So stop, sit down, chill for a second. Like I said, I'm going to be posting a video on how to not be a bridezilla and how to be organized, because I think that's what's really helped me, is that I don't really need to freak out. I already know what I want. I know the time frame it takes to do everything. I know how much time I have. So just going with it, to be honest. And you'll probably see me freak out when we get closer. But for now, woosah. So anyways, if you made it this far in the video, thank you. I appreciate it. And if you want to see more videos that are wedding related, just post a comment down below and I'll tackle it as soon as I can. I obviously will keep posting whether there's comments or not, because this is actually really good for me to look back on. And also I just feel like some of these things aren't talked about, because most of the brides that I see that I've been following have huge budgets and amazingly unachievable weddings, and that's not really how everybody is. Not everyone's bank account is set up the same. So I truly am trying to be a budget-friendly bride, because the money I have is the money I have, and there's no more once I use it. Like, I work for mine. I don't just get money out of the air. And I know that a lot of you can really relate to that. So enough rambling. I gotta go to bed. But like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. So when it comes to picking your budget, you should really prioritize. Open up. So when it comes time to decide on your budget, you should really prioritize what is. Why can't I say that word?